Okay, then welcome back, everyone. Episode 9 of Fitness Thoughts. Really looking forward to this episode. We've got a great guest on today, and it is a very miserable day actually today. It's certainly going towards the winter months. It is very depressing looking out the window today, and I think it's making your picture quite dark, isn't it, Brendon?
I thought you was going to say we've got a very miserable guest today. That's what I thought you were going to say. But yes, so my wall is very dark green. So behind me, it looks dark. But I'm looking around my room now. It's quite well lit.
Dark. We are joined by Brendon Lowden today. So Brendon is a PT in Hull, a very successful PT in Hull, running a very successful business and getting some great transformations, which he's going to tell us all about through the episode. But Brendon, mate, firstly, thank you for coming on, dude. Thank you for giving up some of your time. Welcome to the podcast. Do you just want to give a bit of information about yourself, bit of an introduction, dude, for those that might not have come across you?
Yeah, why not? So yes, my name is Brendon, as Jake just said there. I've been a personal trainer for 4 and a bit years now. Only the last 2 or 3 years I dropped doing sport. So I used to do sport massage and personal training. Due to us, I wouldn't say successful. I don't know what success is a subjective thing, but about a year and a bit ago, I decided to bottle sport massage completely and go fully into personal training. And that has been a really good career move for me. So I'm at Pure Gym in Hull. And yeah, I've been doing it 3.5 years. I predominantly work with women, though I don't just work with women. And typically that sort of 20 to sort of 30s. I know if any of my clients listen to that aren't in that group, I'm sorry, but you know, you're not the majority. Predominantly, it's basically trying to get women to build their confidence in and outside of a gym. So anyone that's clueless and going on treadmills for an hour and a half and stuff like that. That's my sort of people I tend to work with, and getting people into a weights area under a barbell is something that it's very rewarding as well. I was going to swear. I'm not sure if you can swear on here.
Mate, go for it.
I was going to say it's very rewarding. Yeah. So yes, I'm not sure if Jake runs a PG show around here, but yes, it's very rewarding to see women to go from doing either classes. So a lot of people do classes, or like just hang off a Stairmaster for an hour. We've all seen them in a gym, and that's fine. You're going to be you're comfortable with what you're comfortable with, and then I'm just trying to get these women into weights areas. And essentially making it the big girl room, not the big boy room, because we've had it for enough years now, mate. So let them play around now.
It's interesting because that was one of the things I wanted to ask you was, so I'm going to assume the answer to this is no, did you set out to build a predominantly female client base, or has it just organically gone that way over the years?
It was very organic at first. So about a year ago, I don't call myself a female specialist because I do think there needs to be a level of you having to be a female. I've never had a period in my life. I've never had a menstrual cycle in my life. Do you know what I mean? There's things that I will never go through that my clients go through on a daily basis. To say that I'm a female specialist, though I am more sort of qualified in that area with periods, I can't physically feel it myself. But to say I'm a female specialist, I think that would be giving myself a bit too much credit. But I do work with predominantly women. It was by accident, and I just looked in the group one time. We have 3 blokes and 30 women. I'm like, all right, I'm a female specialist now. And then, yes, nowadays, what I tend to do is whenever people do come on, because there is quite a large sort of social element to PTing with me, and they need to fit the clientele. If I've got women who are willing to be very open with their problems in the Facebook group and the group WhatsApp chats, no offense to any bricklayers that are age 40, but they're not going to mingle with them well, do they? So because of all so similar people, my WhatsApp, my Facebook groups are always popping off, and it doesn't rely on me working as hard as Jake does over here. So I can let the clients talk to each other, and they're all best mates. And the stuff that I don't even find out about, in the group chat I'm in. But yes, they all are quite similar now, and it's very great to see. And even the ones that aren't particularly similar, they still vibe. They're a similar sort of vibe. So it does work well. So I leaned on that about a year ago, and it was a good sort of idea to do. And then now people are even more open with their problems now, and you've got clients helping each other. So I can sort of sit back and watch it sort of unfold myself, and they've got clients doing nights out with each other without me because I don't go out, and all sorts of this sort of stuff outside of personal training, which is quite good. And I feel like if I didn't become a female specialist, quotation marks, they wouldn't want to see each other outside. They just want to see me, and that'd be it. Like it'd be a one-to-one thing. Even my one-to-one clients know all my other clients, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So it does help their journey quite a lot. Like help them not helping each other, as well as me giving my expertise wherever I can.
Yeah, that's something that comes across so evident in certain like your social medias is that sense of community that you've managed to organically at first and now sort of build within your clients. Like there is that big community, and you're not only offering someone, support and a service, you're offering them this community of like-minded people that they can really feel comfortable with and sort of surround themselves with, which it's just a huge value, and it can make such a difference for people.
And yeah, like, it does really work as well. Like it really works. Even my sort of days off, and we all need days off. Them lot are motivating each other. I always put this like a bit of if you had like a chart of like motivation going up and down, up and down, up and down, because they're all contacting each other. One of them's bound to have an up day, while another one's bound to have a low day. So the general hope is that they're all on a bit of a higher day because of it, because there's always at least one person to pick each other up. And then because of that, they're all fairly motivated. Obviously, motivation isn't something I fully believe in, but I'm guessing we might come on to that at some point today. But when you are motivated, you do work harder. You do. That is a fact. But because of that, someone's firing all cylinders. That means they all are at least a little bit when they aren't feeling 100% up for it.
Yeah. So I wanted to dive into a little bit of your background, specifically more uni, where we didn't come across each other at uni because we didn't meet at uni, but I
think we did.
So, I think we will have done certainly at one of these Super Bowl nights, because I did go to the Super Bowl nights at the SU.
I remember you were there.
You were there. But I do think we met, but we didn't know each other. Like we were, we didn't speak or anything like that. But I did want to sort of just bring the conversation round to that, because I could be wrong, but from what I understand, you were responsible for starting up the American Football Society at uni, weren't you? Yourself and your brother. Was it you and your brother, or just yourself?
No, fuck my brother. My brother's Leith Hall. He did nothing to do with it.
It's just because I saw him there a lot as well, so I wasn't sure.
Because it was the first Super Bowl as a YSJ Jaguars event. I got fucking everyone involved in it. I wanted it to be a big event. It ended up being, obviously, I'm a Falcons fan. It was a fucking disaster of a night. And what I liked the year after was the boys understood how stressed I was that year, and they took care of it. So I didn't have to run the event. So I do look back on that night in particular, obviously, that I may have met you, and it was frustrating because even though my team was in the Super Bowl, and for anyone that doesn't care about American football, that can be quite rare for some people. And my team did lose in dramatic fashion as well. I didn't truly enjoy it even when we were winning, because I was running was doing charity for mine, was doing this, was doing that. And I was getting pissed at the same time, like all these measurables at once. So I couldn't truly soak it in, but I loved the night, don't get me wrong, but like when I look back on that night in particular, I think not of how we lost and how my team almost won sort of thing, but more how I was running around the student union like a headless chicken. But the year or two before that, I was in the rugby league team, and if you ask Bo, you'll know this, I'm fucking dog shit at rugby league. I stopped playing rugby league when I was 13, mainly because I just moved house. It wasn't anything dramatic. And then I thought I'd give it a go at 18. And then 5 years must have been a big change for everyone, because the gaps got bigger. I got fatter as well, so I was really unfit at that point. I played 2 games in the rugby league team for the uni. I'm not going to slag the guys off. I didn't really vibe with the players either, but then I tore my hamstring as well in the crosscodes game, so league versus union. So it was a friendly against the uni, and I tore my hamstring. And then that was my rugby league. I was never going to have a career because I was crap at it, but I was never going to have a career at rugby league. And so I decided at that point, no more sport at the uni. And then about 3 months later, I started doing sport massage for Hull Sharks at Hull Uni. So I was going home once every 3 weeks. And I was looking around, I was seeing how fun they were all having. I'm like, York can have an American football team. York St. John, obviously York Uni does. So we corralled a group of lads that were just interested in American football. If I saw someone wearing a jersey on campus, I was like a fly on shit. If I saw you with your mug that I've just seen there, I'd have talked to you on campus.
By the way, you have disrespected in the past, which we will talk about.
I don't mind doing that. But yes, it was leafleting. It was just fucking word of mouth. We did like a random social, the Beth at Revolution, because I worked at Revolution at the time. And there was 60 guys there. And without being dramatic, mate, it was so rewarding. I'm like, right, we've got a team here. Obviously, half of them wanted to just get pissed and wanted a free social. That's what I really wanted. And then 4 weeks later, we brought 30 lads on a bus to York Centurions to be their, essentially the B team, to get them ready for their scrimmage, like a scrimmage sort of thing. For their, I don't know who they play for their sort of, Do you like your big game at the end of the year? I think they play. Yeah, like I think it's Lancashire. I think they do Battle of the Roses, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
So what they wanted to do was just embarrass us to build confidence for varsity, and that's not what happened. They still trumped us a little bit, but it wasn't as bad as what they thought. And at the end of the game, they went, "I think you lot have got something here." And then lo and behold, we did a vote on the Facebook group, ended up becoming the Jaguars because all the other teams are cap based, and then they're there today still. And that's mad to me. Like, it's still mad. Like, that's come from leafleting and just talking to random strangers and not being scared to do it. Like, it was. Yeah. If the day I die, if the team still exists when I die, if this, like, that will be heavily rewarding for me. Like, these uni teams can last years and years and years.
A legacy, mate. It's your legacy.
I came up with a name. Do you know what I mean? It was me. I said Jaguar was on the vote. It was just random ones. Just get a lot of cats in there. St. John Bishops were in there. All these wanky sort of church-related ones because it was. Saints almost got voted, which I'm glad it didn't.
Yeah, that would have gone down well.
No, I think I fixed it probably, but it was a St. John Saints, just sounded stupid anyway. But to see the team as the Jaguars to this day is still like, that's massive to me. Like, it's huge.
Because I remember, so I was in my third year, obviously, alongside Bo, I think, when the team properly formed, when you got everything.
Yeah, I'm good about that. It took an extra year because the funding went wrong.
Yeah,
I in that first game, and I wasn't. I was coaching instead, and I was a right arsehole that day. We went to Newcastle, and I was like, I should have been on that team. I should have been on that pitch, but obviously I was out of uni at that point. So
yeah, because I similar to you, did rugby league in my second year alongside Bo, for the YSJ team. Again, similar to you, I was on a course with most of the lads. I didn't overly. I clicked well with the team. I clicked all right with the team, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. Going from playing union for a lot of years, I thought I'd love it, but I didn't click with it the same.
And not to slate him, it's just the lads culture. Like, it ain't me. Like, that's all it is.
But that's
I do like the drinks. I do like have a social time, but I'm not saying I'm not a bloke, but like, I'm not a lad sort of thing. Like, and that's why I didn't really get along. Like, I didn't enjoy the socials or anything like that. And I'm not going to slag them off. Like, they're just different people. And it was just, I didn't enjoy the socials. I weren't getting played on the first team anyway. I didn't really see the point in spending so much money. Do you know what I mean? So I just hung around.
I remember when I realised that you guys had started the American football team and in my third year, and I was gutted for that because for my third year I was commuting from home, so there was no sense in signing up for the team because I was literally having to drive an hour there and an hour back all the time. Which was a shame because it was one of those. I think you
did dabble, didn't you, in a couple of training sessions?
No, no. I did.
Bring random people, so I thought you might have been one of them people.
I came to a few of the games. I did come to a few of the games to watch, which is probably sort of where you might have seen. But because I was traveling to and from all the time, and I was working full time back home, I couldn't sign up, and I was gutted about that.
It's an expensive sport as well. It's not the cheapest of sports. Like, you've got to spend at least £300 to get started. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard buying, to be fair.
So have you always had a big fascination in American football? Like, what games did you play when you were young? What was your sort of introduction to sport and fitness when you were young?
So I didn't enjoy sport. I didn't enjoy fitness. So I skipped PE at school. Not primary because you don't really have a choice. But I was okay at primary. I didn't really have any back experience with STEM sport. But then secondary, I talked about this on my own podcast the other day, actually. But I got called fat by a PE teacher. And made that fuck me right up big time. So then I really started hating how I looked, my experiences in sport, and it was just not a nice thing for me. I always watched rugby league as a fan. I did play rugby league until I was 13. I was okay at rugby league at 13. Like, you're all a similar standard. I'll just use my weight. Do you know what I mean? I was 13 stone at 13. Like, I weigh the same now as I did when I was 13. But I was a prop. I just do 2 drives in. Off you go. Obviously, you'd rotate quite a lot at that level. And then I just moved to Headon, which was further out. And then I just never played rugby league ever again. So sport-wise, spectator sport, man, I watched everything. So it was rugby league. It was a lot of football. So I used to go to Hull City quite a lot. And then I randomly, at college one time, my mate was, he had a free session while I had a free session. He was, let's watch highlights of this American football game. There's this guy called Drew Brees who's really good.
The Saints quarterback, isn't he?
Yeah, and basically he played the Falcons, and we got bitched. It's his worst ever game stats wise, still to this day. And I just happened to watch the highlights of it. I went, I like the black and red team, that team who kicked his ass. And then I watched the rest of the season as a neutral.
Yeah.
And then I was going to pick my team at the end of the year because it was like just before the start of the playoffs. I was amazed with RG3 and his injury. That was a thing. Colin Kaepernick came in. That Super Bowl was fucking insane with the lights turning off, and it was like it lasted 5 hours or 6 hours or something because there was a power cut in the middle of the game, and I still stayed up. I was like, oh, I might actually enjoy this then. And then I just Googled local Hull sides the day after, like a lot of people do at that age. Just watch the Super Bowl, I must get involved straight away. A team didn't exist. And yet again, I managed to help develop the team in Hull before St. John as well. So St. John weren't even the first team. So Humber Warhawks, I helped develop them. I chose their colours as well. So
that's interesting because it's sort of, you've spent a lot of your teenage and earlier years setting yourself up for what you're doing now, sort of building that community.
Yeah, I've never, until you said it just then, I was like, shit, yeah, that's another team I've set up, didn't I? Yeah. So
you've spent years
Warhawks, I was 13. With Warhawks, it was finding the right people to know what to do. So it wasn't, I wouldn't take credit for that. I was at Warhawks' first ever game. I was at Jaguars' first ever game. Some people would say I'm the most important person in terms of the Yorkshire for American football. Just saying. But yes,
Yorkshire Steve Madden. That's
yeah, some would say I've got the biggest inspiration in the county. But to say that I'm not in the sport now is quite sad now. But it just is what it is. I'm self-employed. I can't take any risks. But yeah, so then I helped develop that. I was 13 though. It was just more. It's more of a communication thing. I dabbled on graphic design to get the team logos and all that shit. To this day, I still play around with that stuff, as people will know, in terms of like that kind of stuff. And that's what got people interested. And then, yet again, I was part of the team there. So I was actually in the senior team when I was 15. Let me say that. but yes, I was there for the first ever scrimmage and game for them as well. So, yeah. So
brilliant. So just taking that back to something you said a minute ago, if you don't mind. So obviously when that PE teacher said what he said to you, which is horrific, because I got similar, but just from mates in school, just sort of like joking around. There was some truth. There was some truth behind it, but sort of when it's from mates, you can sort of laugh it off. Sometimes it can still hurt, but you laugh it off. But if you get it from a teacher, someone who, as a child you look up to and respect, or your mentor, that could be
disgusting, mate. It's awful.
That could be pretty damaging. So how did that affect you in terms of how you then approached training, fitness and everything after that moment? Was it a case of, right, I'm going to prove you wrong, or was it a case of, I just want nothing to do with this?
Bit of both. So in terms of school sport and participation at school, I didn't really get involved. I'd skipped PE from that point onwards. And it was a shame because part of me wanted to do GCSE PE, and I know he ran it. So I didn't want to be any part of him. And he probably, to this day, doesn't remember the comment. That's the worst part about it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was just an offhanded comment. Oh, you're a fat boy in goal. All right, nice one. He just get off with his day and his coffee, and then he's lived the rest of his life. I'm not sure if he's alive, dead, or what. Do you know what I mean? But it probably meant nothing to him. It was just another random comment he's made to another fat kid in his class. That's probably all it was. And then to me, to this day, it triggers me. But at that sort of similar time, 13, 14, my mum got a PT at David Lloyd, and then me and my brother got joined up at David Lloyd as well. And then I really started basically telling my brother and my mate Tristan what to do in the gym. So I really started, I was like, oh, this is quite fun. This just tell them what to do. I didn't know much more than them, but I'm the one on bodybuilding.com following the plans.
Yeah, go through all the
I used the initiative. Yeah, it was me that used the initiative. It was me telling them about protein, even though I knew fuck all myself. It was me doing all that. And it's really weird. I went through this in my podcast the other day, but I talked about how I wanted to do engineer when I was younger. I thought I wanted to do engineer anyway, and then I didn't get a B, so I couldn't do A-level engineering, so I had to make a pivot. And I was like, what do I enjoy? At 16, I'm like, I love telling my brother and my mate off at the gym.
Yeah.
Do that maybe. And then that's where I started doing A-level PE and the diploma in sport, and then that's how it all... So being pissed off at him kind of worked, but it was more... In school, I was my own thing. I didn't talk about fitness and health. I just almost like a dark secret kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then outside of school, at the end of school, me, my mum and my brother would go to David Lloyd, and then we'd train quite regularly, 3-4 times a week. We spend a lot of money on a PT there.
Yeah.
And that was my first experience of fitness was in a gym. It wasn't in sport. I mean, it was in sport, but it didn't inspire me to be better. I was never, I must lift this weight to be better at rugby or football. It was just I don't really know why. I think I didn't have a goal, so to say. I was just training because my mum was in the gym. Do you know what I mean? Like there was no reasoning, but I'm guessing being called fat all the time, it kind of fueled that fire a little bit. But
yeah, I get that because I was very similar to that. So I grew up. So my dad's or used to anyway be a bodybuilder. So we've grown up with him, and he still trains now consistently, like 3-4 days a week, and bikes all the time and loves it. So we sort of grew up in that environment of, even when we were too young to train, sometimes we'd go with him to the gym and just sit in reception whilst he trained and just whatever. So as soon as I was old enough, I was like, I'm getting in the gym. I want to go in the gym. And for me, initially, it was partly to improve rugby because I was playing at academy level, like local club level at that point.
Yeah.
And I wanted to try and drop a bit of body fat and feel a bit better about myself. So that fueled it for me. And I remember that when I was younger, I'm just sort of bringing this round to sort of how I ended up here because it's similar to you. I always had a goal when I was younger. I wanted to be a professional rugby player. I wanted to play for Bradford Bulls. That was like my dream. And as I got into my teens, I realized that isn't going to happen. I'm not good enough to get to that level, nowhere near. And I got to sort of sixth form, and I was never going to go to uni. Wasn't bothered about it. Wasn't interested. Didn't know what I wanted to do. And I remember having a conversation with one of my mates, and I was talking about what he was doing, and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to go do strength and conditioning." And I was like, "What the hell, strength and conditioning? I'm literally never heard of that." He was like, "Oh, it's like sort of gym-based personal training, but for sports teams and stuff." And literally my mind, it just blew. I was like, "What? That's a thing?" I was like, "I've never heard of this." I was like, "Well, if I can't be a rugby player, maybe I could be an S&C and still work within a rugby environment." And it's sort of, so I ended up going to uni to do that, like there and there. I was like, "That's it. That's what I'm doing." And then it sort of progressed over the years. I did that for a few years. I realized it wasn't what I wanted to do full time, and then sort of got to here. But yeah, it's interesting when you're around that environment, you just sort of fall into it naturally when you're young.
I've got a question for you there. When you said it wasn't for you, I was put off when I went on placement.
Yeah.
So what was your experience? What made you sort of pivot?
So for me, predominantly, to be honest, there was two reasons. A, I realized it just wasn't what I was passionate about, the actual training side and programming side of things. I really love it, but then to the degree of doing it for athletics and a sports team, I just realized it wasn't really me. It didn't really get me going. I realized mine was more down nutrition in that line. And then second of all, it was just the finance and the sort of longevity of the career. Like for a job like that, certainly rugby league, the pay isn't going to be great. And unless you're at a top tier club. And even then, the job security, if that team start performing shitly, you chances are you're going to lose your job. So I was just like, do you know what, long term, because I did do it with Wakefield Trinity for a few years, and that was great, and I really did enjoy it. But then I sort of got to a position where it was like, right, I choose between this or I choose between the PT side of things that I'd started up on the side. And I was like, from a financial point of view, PT is just going to pay me so much. Oh, hopefully.
Yeah, it's scalable, isn't it?
Yeah.
But so I pivoted. Well, I did a different route. I wasn't going to be a PT. I think PTs are wankers. I still think they're all wankers. I like to think I'm different, so to say. But that's why when I followed your page before, I remember saying to Burr before I followed them, I thought, this guy's different. You can tell when PTs are in it for other people and not themselves. I think that's very important in this industry. We need more, not we're white knights and everything, but we need more people like ourselves who we're always amazing at this and this and have experiences, the struggles that the people we work with. But I got put off by the people we work with. It was these big, roughy, toughy rugby league lads. Do you know what I mean? Again, it comes back to not enjoying rugby league as a participant. I just felt like I look at them, I looked at me, and they didn't know more than me, but look at them, they fucking know more than me. I ain't going to work with them. I'm going to work with Sue, for example. Do you know what I mean? Down the road. But at the start, I went down the spot massage route because then I was doing gym sales just after university. So I was doing gym sales, and the only thing I could do, because they didn't let me do PT, even though I'm a level 3. That's a long story for another day, how Anytime Fitness went. But basically, they didn't want me to PT because I didn't look, again, because back to being too fat, I didn't look the part. So I wasn't going to say it, and then I said it. And then, so how can I earn an income outside of this gym membership sales? Because guess what? Gym membership sales is just a sales job. Just because you're selling gym membership doesn't mean you're in the industry. Yeah. Sorry to say that, everyone. But so I did spot massage. I got my own, I was the assistant manager, so I made my office into a spot massage facility. And then that was my route into it. And then when I came back to Hull, I had to go, right, okay, I can't start from square one with the massage industry again. It's low income. It's very hard to get clients consistently because you see once a month. So I did the dreaded thing and become a PT wanker. And that's how it kind of became a thing. So I didn't want to become a PT. It just kind of ended up that way. Doesn't mean I regret it because I absolutely fucking love it. But I stopped myself doing so many things in life due to intimidation. I think that's not the right way to go about things. but it's kind of worked out due to that, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. And it's similar to me. Like when I started doing PT for myself, like I didn't do it with the intention of continuing it on. It was just something to do on the side whilst I was doing my masters, and it just gave me a bit of income. And then literally it just started growing and growing. And the more it grew, I realized I really enjoyed it, and I like really, really wanted to pursue it and sort of wanted to see how far I could take it. And then that's just taken me up to today. But it is interesting because I think that can be a case, because you are right. There's some absolute, for lack of a better word, knobheads out there in terms of the industry for people.
Yeah.
When it comes to PTs, everyone's had bad experiences with them, and they can give it like a bad name and a bad brand. But there are decent.
Part of it is me labeling. I will admit that a little bit.
Oh, it can be, yeah, it can be, because if you've come into contact with PTs who are like the rugby sort of lad culture, you're potentially going to have that preconception that is going to be an industry-wide standard, and that is what's going to happen a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So it could be a mixture of that. So taking that up to, so I just want to touch on sort of where you're at now in terms of your sort of training and fitness. Now, obviously, this is going to be an interesting chat because we actually do work together, and you came onto my coaching team, which is really exciting. So I just wanted to go over that a little bit. So from where we were when you were younger, where are we sort of now? Because you've done a hell of a lot over the past few years in that regard.
Yeah. It's interesting you obviously asked that directly, because even our first phone call when I was coming on with yourself, like I still don't really know what I want. Like I'm kind of giving Jake the fucking, I don't want to think about my own journey. So I'm thinking about everyone else's. I've got 43 people to worry about. Yeah. So I'm giving Jake the keys to the car here. But part of me is just wanting to feel, it comes back to thinking TPTs are intimidating, is to look validated what my job is. Like I know like what a PT, what does a PT look like? Well, if I think the wankers, I don't want to look like a wanker, but do you know what I mean? Like it comes back to that a little bit. Like in terms of what I want and what I'm going for at the moment is a lot leaner physique, where I am actually having visible muscles, something I've not really had throughout my entire life. And I was always the bigger guy. Like I naturally am quite square. And that's kind of helped me when I was bigger. I carried my weight. When I was 18 half stone, I looked about 15 half stone. Yeah. I always was able to carry my weight because I was naturally quite a stocky sort of guy. I'm not the tallest of people in the world, but so I would kind of got away with it. And then it's just got to that point where the past year or so, being self-employed and putting so much weight on while lockdowns and stuff, that I want people to look, go, fuck me, he looks good. Do you know what I mean? I've never had that in my life. Do you know what I mean? So that's where I'm on the route of now. But I also don't want that to be encroaching the ability to actually be able to function and be able to be strong still. Like, yeah. I know, like, I'm not saying I'm ever going to become a bodybuilder or anything like that, but I want to be able to wipe my ass. I want to be able to not gas myself out coming up the stairs and stuff. Like, yeah. And I don't have what it takes to do bodybuilding. I've got no interest in bodybuilding. Would I like more of a bodybuilding physique? Yes. But I also want to be functional. Same as Jake knows, my days are fucking long. Like,
yeah, busy days, and a lot of cycling as well, which from a cardio point of view is great because that's going to help with the functionability.
And I don't have to plan my cardio because of it, because I'm already doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so exactly.
Like it works quite well.
Biggest quads in Hull.
I haven't, and I will shout the guy out. So in between deciding my career, when I was doing office work, I was a debt collector for 4 months when I came back to Hull. I did an internship at a group PT facility, something that I want in the future. But a guy called Jay Bell, he's a really good guy to follow. His quads are immense. Like what I will say is he's 5 foot a peanut, so it's kind of cheating a little bit. But yeah, so Jay Bell, he's a very smart guy in Hull, and he does like group PT in his own facility called Proactive Fitness.
Right. Yeah.
And I did some internship stuff with them. I'm popping in now. I've not been there for a while actually since lockdowns, but I pop in and do some stuff for them guys now and then. And his legs, mate, like you should see them, they're ridiculous. Like you can see, it's not just his quads, it's his hamstrings as well. Like you can see absolutely everything. Whereas I don't think my hamstrings are particularly, in comparison to my quads, I'm a bit front heavy. To be fair, like my quads are okay. It's the only thing I'm really happy with.
Yeah, they are very developed. I'm similar. I have more developed quads in relative to my hamstrings as well. I think that can be fairly common for people, certainly with the amount of cycling that you do.
It's a lot of it came from lockdowns. I had 2 kettlebells in my bag, and if it was windy, I'd have DOMs on the way, and I'm still biking. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you put a spin bike to full resistance. I was still doing the same amount of biking as I had now. So 40 minutes a day with 2 kettlebells in my bag. If it's windy, Jesus, mate, like it bats the shit out of me. Like And obviously, when I first came back into the gym, I had the 24-hour spin. So I was cycling to and from work. And when I got to work, I'd sit on the spin bike for 2 hours to get ready for the 24-hour spin. So May, June time was a lot of leg growing sort of for me there, really.
Yeah, and it's definitely worked. But I'm really excited to see what we can push on in the next sort of few months as well, because we've already seen like changes coming in pretty quickly, and certainly a lot around, not to get into too much detail around physique and everything, but around your delts and your arms and your upper back, like we were saying on your last check-in. So we're starting to see a lot of that musculature come out already. So it is exciting to see where we can push that now in the next few months and see what we can do.
Yeah, past month or so, like I am just saying this because obviously it's your show, but like I've really enjoyed it. Like I said earlier, I've enjoyed not having to think about my own journey. I think it does help a lot of people to not have to think about it on their own. Oh, what calories I need, what this. I know what calories I'd need if I wanted to know what I wanted to do, but I don't really know what I want to do. So Jake's giving me calories for this day and this day and this day, and then he's giving me a training plan so that I had to write my 44th training plan for the week. And it's actually been quite nice. It's been a change of pace instead of just lumping 40 minutes in here and there, going, oh, well, I did legs yesterday, so I'll do push today. I'll just chuck a couple of triceps exercises together and call that a day, which is what my training's been for the past year when my business has grown a little bit. And it's been time for me to look after myself a little bit. And it's been very different, but I've actually really enjoyed it. I've liked the whole, the change of, not mindset, so to say, but I think we do have different opinions on things, but I'm still following your doing. I'm not going, oh, yeah, doing that and that and that. But like in the past, I've been very anti-diet, very anti-this, anti-that. And for my clients, it works. And I will still be like that. But being on these low days and stuff, made me realise a little bit that it's not terrible to be on a diet every now and then. Do you know what I mean? It's perfectly fine to be on that. And I know I would have done that myself. I'd have been on my 2,000 calories like I have been the past year or so and just carried on and kept coasting like that.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing as well. Like, there's a time and a place for it. Like, we're not going to be on that forever. It's going to be
which is something in your head when you're thinking. When I have seen these anti-diet person, I'll still do them. Like it works for me and it works for the people I work with. But it's been interesting to see the different opinion of it. But without challenging it, I've just gone with your command. If that makes any sense. Like a lot of my clients don't really care about their physiques. It's more about what they do training wise. Whereas Jake's analysing my body on a weekly basis, and I've really enjoyed the differing opinions of, even though we've got the same job, doing things differently. It's been quite an interesting, and 5-6 weeks in, it's been interesting already, to be fair.
Yeah. And have you ever found sort of with your, so like, one thing I found over the years is when you give someone a new training plan, if there's exercises on there, certainly now that we're online, and obviously for you it's different because you are with them in the gym, but being online, if they've not done that exercise before, they can be a little bit anxious or worried about doing it in the gym and looking a bit daft. So have you ever had one of those moments in the gym where you've done something a bit daft? Because we've all had them.
I'll be straight with anyone listening to this today. So there were some exercises, and Jake can look at my Google sheet for it. He'll see it. If I didn't know an exercise in the first couple of weeks, because I'm in my head, I need to look the part. I need to look great. Maybe it's my insecurities, but I need to look like I know what I'm fucking doing all the time. I would have avoided the exercise that Jake gave me in the first few weeks. And it was that raise that row in particular. I finally did it the other day, and it was fucking easy. I'm like, I need to start doing it often. Do you know what I mean? I saw the video, and I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. I did something else, didn't I? I showed you a video, and you're like, that's not it. I knew he wanted it when I sent him it, but I tried my luck with it. And that happens to all of us, and we all need to respect that. I've been in this industry for 4 years. Like, don't know how long you've been in the industry, but you've got your own coach. Do you know what I mean? Like, to think that you're doing every exercise, it's fucking naive to think it, and it's perfectly fine to walk into a gym and not know every exercise on the fly. You're not going to. That is normal, and that's fine. We've gone through it. I went through it 2 weeks ago. Do you know what I mean? Like,
we all go through it. We all do embarrassing stuff in the gym. Like, I've dropped machines, I've dropped dumbbells, I've headbutted bars, and literally dropped myself onto the floor because of it.
It's funny you say like about embarrassing yourself, and I've called her out in the past for this on another podcast. But my newish client Chloe, we did assisted dips today on the machine. The one where your head bops up and down. She's like, "Oh, look stupid." I thought, why? You're not going to fall over. No, my head's bopping up and down. I was like, who gives a fuck? Like, the machine is away. You're looking at a wall. No one can see it. All the machines are facing the way. And I went, no one can see you.
Yeah.
Like that. And then I went on the machine. I intentionally dropped it. So I made a big bang. No one turned around. I went, look, it's fine. I went, I've just done the worst thing you can do on this machine. And no fucker turned around the ball, get headphones in. She went, all right, it's fine now.
Yeah.
But it was I felt quite bad. It was a big fucker. I just dropped it, with the plates all bottom.
Yeah. It makes a noise, doesn't it? But you have to.
If a member did it, I'd call him an arsehole, but I was making a point. I said to her, like, to not do an exercise because you think your head's going to bob up and down. I was like, come on, man. Like, we can do this. We'll be fine. And I'm with her. So God knows what she'd be like on her own. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you have to do that sometimes to realize that no one's paying attention. You have to do something. Like we've done stuff where, you know, I've dropped a dumbbell on myself before and been like, shit, I hope no one saw that. Like it happens, doesn't it? Have you ever had anything like that where you've done it and you've been like, I hope no one's seen that or heard that then?
Yes, so with my own experience, so I've been doing the thing called Squat with my clients. It's a worldwide thing. It's Sorinex, like a gym company. Do it online. They do like a daily leg day, for example. Not leg day, it's squats, and then it's just a normal day after it. I've just been doing the squat components of it. And to find out my new 1 rep max just before I came on with yourself, if you're working out your 1 rep max, you're going to fall. It's your 1 rep fucking max. Do you know what I mean? It's going to happen. And at some point, you're going to get fall in half, and you know it's going to happen. You're just waiting for it. And say like about 5 weeks ago, I was doing squats on the bar. Did 4 reps, so I was working a 5 rep minimum, a 5 rep max of a 1 rep max, just out of not fear, but I didn't really want to fucking fall, and I still fell on this 5th rep. Folded myself in half, looked at the bar, I had a laugh, stood back up, and then I did a 1 rep max after it on high weight. Like, it happens. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're all gonna fall over in the gym. We're all gonna fucking the video is brilliant, mate. I literally just fell over like an accordion. Like, I didn't have any safeties on it. Like, I didn't kill myself, luckily. Do you know what I mean? Like, it could have been worse than it was. I looked around. Everyone saw me this time, and I laughed about it and carried on. I had my wet t-shirt on as well, which was brilliant. Everyone saw it.
Yeah, but it is just like people will see that, and as long as you're all right, they'll just laugh. Like no one cares. It's not like
if anything, people will, and if they don't, they're assholes. They'll come and help you and ask you if you're all right. If they don't, fuck them. But yes, if anything, people ask you if you're okay, which might be perceived to be embarrassing for yourself, but it's not. They're looking at your best interest when that happens.
Yeah, definitely. So moving this on, what would, in terms of, let's move on to nutrition and away from training. What is like the weirdest myth or like just some down and out absolute fitness BS that you've come across over the years that sort of springs to mind?
Oh, so I can't think of one for nutrition top of my head, but it's
can be anything.
I mean, there is really obvious ones about, because fruit's technically a sugar, that you should be eating fruit. Yeah. Like, I have fruit we all should be having fruit every day. You know what I mean? But like, that one's always one that does creep up. Yes, it is natural in sugars, yes. But like, I can't be asked to go through simple and complex and things like that, which is fine. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to kill you, basically. I'm not going to go through that today with you all. But yeah, so like banning of the context of, and this goes into keto and stuff like that. I don't be the typical PT to cry about keto and stuff, but the idea of removing a food or a food group entirely because it's terrible for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that whole concept as a whole is ridiculous. And the fact that it's got as much traction as it has to this day is absolutely ridiculous. I think the Special K diet is up there though, like having loads of Special K.
I love Special K. I do love Special K.
look good in a red bikini by the end of 8 weeks or something like that. I think that is stupid. But to focus on either having one food group or banning a food group out is ridiculous. Like, as Jake would probably tell you as well, carbs are very, very, very important in my eyes. I know a lot of people are keto. And doing keto for 1 or 2 days a week isn't going to kill you. I respect that. But to fully cut it out, I think is insane to me. Like,
massive. And I just say to people, sort of, it can be kept really simple. When I've had people come in like, oh, I've read about the keto diet, I'm thinking I might give it a go because it'll help me lose weight. And I've got friends that have lost weight on it, and I think it's going to be really useful. And I just literally say to them, right, okay, that's fine. Can you sit here now and say to me that you're happy to give up rice, pasta, potatoes, breads, pizzas, everything for the rest of your life, and it's not going to bother you? And they were like, no. I wouldn't want to do that. I'm like, right, well, don't go keto, because whatever results you get from going keto, at some point, you're going to go back to carbs. And when you do, you're more than likely going to revert back to old habits and you're going to regain that weight. So from a sustainability point of view for weight loss, it's pointless. Like, you can try it, but
even outside of sustainability, the moment you start demonizing a food group or a food, it becomes sexy in your head. So when you do eat it, whoa. Do you know what I mean? It becomes even better. You get more endorphins than you would normally if you ate it on a normal basis.
Yes.
Like, if Jake bans me from chocolate next week, If I have chocolate on Sunday night, I'll be coming in my pants, mate. I'm like, oh yes, I shouldn't be having this. It's naughty. Like you're adding another level to these demonic foods, and by basically demonizing these food groups, you're making them sexier in your head, and the endorphins in your brain do get larger because of it, because you're cutting something so bad and but I can have it. I can buy it from the shop, and Jake won't know, and Brendon won't know if I have this food. Do you know what I mean? Like, so by demonizing it at the end of this sort of keto phase, you're gonna absolutely love pasta. I love pasta, to be fair, but you're gonna love it even more. Do you know what I mean? And it is a tricky route to go down. It's like you said, going back into not being keto.
It is, because it can build or reinforce those negative relationships or beliefs about food. And it as well with like cravings, like you were saying, it starts to become more appealing. You start to get more cravings for it because you shouldn't be having it. So when we can get cravings from physical, emotional, or behavioral triggers, like that can be a big one, that it starts to seem more and more appetizing to you and more tempting. And it just makes it so much harder.
Yeah, I could talk about emotional eating all day. Like, it's very important that before you do eat something, are you actually hungry, or do you think you're hungry? Just pause 5 seconds. That's the one quick tip I'll say. I could go about it all day with emotional eating. Working with 40 women, you can imagine how much emotional eating I've over the week. But that first tip to anyone listening to this day, if there's anything you want to take away from this, if you think you're hungry, so therefore you're going to snack on something you shouldn't have. I know you don't want to demonize it, but you know what I mean by not having, you're not being responsible. Just take a second before you unpack it or unravel it or bite into it. Am I actually hungry? Or is it because it's there, because I know it's in the fridge, because I know it's in the cupboard? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just have a second, and then you will realise, no, actually, you don't need that. I could have it. And then you'll feel better having the full thing tomorrow when, for example, if you have got more calories that day, or if you have got a more energetic day, you've had a long day, you can have that chocolate bar instead of that day where you just felt like you wanted it. Do you know what I mean? So rewarding yourself for having a longer day, it'll feel a lot better than it would be if you're eating it for the sake of it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. There's a great book on that as well. I don't know if you've read it, called The Joy of Half a Cookie. And it's just about...
I'm about to say, great book.
Yeah, really, really useful as well for like tuning into, am I actually like, is this treat or whatever I've made up in my head to be really, really nice and I've got this craving for, when I actually have it, is it actually what I imagine it to be? Is it living up to the potential of what I thought it would be? Because 9 times out of 10, it turns out it's like, actually, it doesn't taste what you...
I saw a meme the other day, and it was the takeaway is never as good as the build-up to get the takeaway.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. I mean, how many times have, like, I do it all the time. I did it the other week, and I'm not dieting, so it doesn't matter, but I got a takeaway. And afterwards, I was just like, do you know what? I shouldn't have bothered. Like, that really wasn't asked about that at all. And it's disappointing.
Last Friday when I came back from Leeds, so I go to Leeds for my business coaching once every 3 months. I have a takeaway on the night.
Yeah.
This time round, I was like, it's Chinese time. I've not had Chinese, probably first time this year. Not out of like a health choice, I just haven't. Do you know what I mean? Like leaving on your own, when you've got that minimum delivery, you tend to not get any takeaways. You get the ones that are nearby and I don't have a Chinese near me, but I got it delivered. Came right to the door as I got back from Leeds. It was perfect. And it just didn't hit. It didn't bang. Like I was like, I've been waiting 3 months for this. It just didn't hit.
Do you know I think the worst takeaway food for that is, the most underwhelming takeaway food for me, I'm putting it out there, is fish and chips. I will get cravings for fish and chips, maybe 2 or 3 times a year at most. I'll only have them. And every time I have them afterwards, I'm just like, do you know what? I just feel stodgy. I didn't even enjoy that. Like, not like I thought I would. Every time I'm like, just remember this next time, because you don't enjoy them. And then next time comes around and I'm like, no, this time it'll be different. This time they'll taste better.
Are you forgetting which city I live in? I love fish and chips, mate. Like, no, sir. You've got to get the right places. Like fish. Do you know a lot of people are very picky what Chinese they go to? Around here in Hull, like you're very picky what fish and chips you go to. Like a bad fish and chips is soggy. It's horrible, isn't it? But
it just leaves you feeling greasy and heavy, doesn't it?
In terms of consistency, I do agree. I think fish and chips, like the good fish and chips, are bad fish and chips. They're so much different compared to a Chinese. You know it's going to be full of sugar. You know it's going to be pretty grim, and you know the place that you're getting it from. Like, so you know the standards don't really differentiate. But a good fish and chips can be unreal, whereas a bad one can be some frozen monstrosity that you've just paid £6 for.
Yeah, the most disappointing purchase of your life. So moving on. So in contrast then, what would you say if you could pick out one thing, what do you love about the fitness industry? What really sort of, what do you love about it? I was trying to think of a way to reword that, but it doesn't need rewording.
I think it's the recent trend. I call it a trend, but It just seems like there is different types of coaches out there for everything now. There seems to be someone for everyone now. Like, it's not, like I mentioned earlier, a big bloke who can't wipe his ass and he just can't relate to his clients and stuff. And there is them types of coaches out of fear can work for other certain clients. I get it. Like, out of fear, I don't want to piss my PT off. I would hate to think any of my clients do something or don't do something out of fear of pissing me off, so to say.
Yeah.
But I think recently the industry, it just seems to be more acceptable of what you see in a gym. Like, there is different types of people training now, a lot more. Part of it might be because of lockdowns and stuff. We've all put a bit of weight on, or some of us in a really bad state actually under it while lockdowns and stuff. So I think there's a new types of PTs over the last year, legit the last 2 years. Like, I've really seen a change in people coming through the doors wanting to give this guys a career. And I think that can only be a good thing, having people from the various experiences in life coming in to be a leader, so to say, because every PT is a leader. Whether they've got 2 clients or 200 clients, then people are following what they're saying. Do you know what I mean? Like, and because they've got coming in from a different angle and have a different opinion, I think that's such a good thing. So not having this cookie cutter, stereotypical what people thought a PT used to be, usually ex-military, obsessed with doing a 1.5 mile run on your first ever PT session. When I first started, I thought it was the right thing to do.
Yeah,
like,
you need to try and hurt them as much as possible. The sorer they are, the better the session was.
My PT sessions, I always say this to my guys, and when it is quite, my first PT session is underwhelming as fuck. I know it is, but I'm just trying to see how you move. Yeah. Sorry, do you know what I mean? But I used to do a 1.5 mile run. How many press ups can you do in a minute? Fuck knows what they could do if they couldn't do any. I just put 0. Do you know what I mean? Fine. And the plan would change depending on that, but it would just be a beginner plan instead of a beginner plan, this plan and this plan. Do you know what I mean? But I always say to my clients nowadays, like, it's a lesson. It's not if you wanted a boot camp, go to the fucking free classes that Pure Gym provide. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to learn anything. You'll get a sweat on. You might burn some calories and that'll be it. But with me, if you burn 200 calories, but you now learn how to squat without your heels turning in, so fucking be it. If you want to squat terribly for 35 minutes and get a sweat on, go be my guest. It's free. All Pure Gym, the free classes. Do you know what I mean? So I always say PT sessions are a lesson. They're not something to be. And I've seen PTs do this. And again, I've been guilty in the past. The old, let's video my client waddling down the stairs, limping after a leg day. Like, shut up, dickhead. Do you know what I mean? Like, teach her properly. She's an accountant, for fuck's sake, mate. She don't need to be limping down the stairs. Like, she's got work tomorrow. We work in a gym. Like, so when I see PTs, and I still see it to this day, like, videoing them down, like, I didn't want this to become what I hate, but like, them types of PTs, I'm seeing it less and less and less. Like, people from different experiences, people I've been scared of the gym like myself, people who compare themselves to other people that have come from a sport background like yourself. Like, there is literally a PT for everybody now, and I think it's really good to see. And the more different opinions, the more well-rounded we are as PTs ourselves, because we spend time with these other PTs and we respect their opinions as well.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think that's a really, really good point. I think you dod on. And to be fair, that was not even something that had occurred to me, but as you were talking about it, you dod on in the sense that there is so much more of a variety of people coming through wanting to be PTs and then going on to specialize in their own specific areas.
I would like to add on top of that, I think the dog-eat-dog mentality is becoming less and less and less as well. Like, when I first started, fuck me, you hate every PT. They're pricks, they're taking my clients. I wouldn't even for me to tag you in a story, that'd be mental. For me to go on a podcast with you, helping you out, be mental. Fuck every PT. He's like 4 or 5 years ago, you hated each other. We're all self-employed. We're all out to get each other. Business coaches and stuff like that, like helping other PTs. Like, I've got PTs in my messages asking help on how can I start group PT? How can I do this? How can I do that? And tomorrow I've got that seminar, like how to start online coaching, because obviously that's fairly new to me now. And I've started that online coaching business this year, so I'm doing a seminar on how to start it, not to run it as successful as yourself because you're fully online, but to just get it going, like to be asked to do that type of stuff, and for PTs not to be fighting each other anymore to get clients. Do you know what I mean? There's like, how many people in the UK? And there's like probably 200,000 PTs. There's enough for everyone. Don't worry. Like, we'll be fine.
Well, this is so the first gym that I ever PT'd at. That happened to me. I put some posters up when I'd started properly PTing, and one of the other instructors like messaged me that night and was kicking off about it, like saying, "Oh, it's backhand. You know, you've gone behind my back." And I'm like, look, I'm just advertising my business. I was like, I'm happy to do the same for you. We're not against each other in this. Like, it's absolutely fine. And I couldn't believe it at that point, but it is actually, or it was at that point, quite a common thing to happen. It was either they either go, that person will either go with them or with me, and it's them or me, and I need to make sure it's me sort of situation. But nowadays, as things are progressing, certainly with online, like you said, it is so much more bringing everyone else up around you. What's that saying? Like a rising tide lifts all boats or something. And it is true. Like helping everyone bring around, and it is ultimately improving the industry standard across the board of the people, PTs, coaches, whatever, that are doing that, or they're engaging with that.
My business coach, for one of them, he says there's enough room for the finish line for all of us. That's something he says quite a lot.
Yeah, there is. It's true. Yeah, massively.
We're not going to run out of humans walking into a gym. Like, it's not happening. Do you know what I mean? And even if they did, like, obviously when you do online stuff, there's going to be, the whale is your oyster, so to say, in terms of clients. I know typically you probably have people living near you, and that's how it tends to sort of spread out. But yeah, like I've noticed at the start, it used to be very sport massage. I remember getting this fucking brute of a woman. She didn't do it in the industry anymore, so I don't mind telling this. But mate, so when I was doing sport massage versus a sport massage therapist, she ripped my business cards up the bitch. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how bad it was. So this was 6 years ago. Like, and that was my first, like, delving into self-employed. I was like, doing this again. I'm going to my office job. You know what I mean? Fuck this. She was a big unit as well, mate. It's scary. She kicked the shit out of me if she wanted to. But yeah, like that person thing, it's ridiculous. And what I've noticed is the people that were like that aren't doing it today still.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's
obviously don't say the name of that guy, but I bet he ain't PT anymore. Or I bet he's
so I don't know what he does now, to be honest. But I always had that mindset of, as long as you know that you're doing everything that you could be doing to deliver a good service and build your business, you don't care about what other people are doing. You're happy to help other people because you know that you're doing everything that you're capable of doing.
I don't mind saying this on a live mic, but I think some guys in my place can be quite guilty of that with me sometimes. They think, he's a bastard, he's got all the clients, he's doing this. But then they ask me for help. I'm happy to help anyone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's the perception, he's fucking sort of thing like that. And it does come across quite a lot, like in this industry as a whole. I think moving online, I'm not sure if it's better or worse. I'm guessing you don't interact with PTs as much, I suppose.
Don't interact with PTs really, minus just conversations when I'm in the gym myself, training for myself, or, doing the podcast like this. And it's part of the reason why I wanted to do this, was just to reach out and network with more coaches like yourself and more people and just talk about it. But yeah, you don't really tend to come across it. Like I've never had another online coach message me, for example, on Instagram or something, kicking off or anything like that.
The thing is, you just swipe and delete your shit, dickhead.
Yeah, exactly. You just be like, well, I hope you sort out whatever's going on with you. There's obviously something going on, and I'll see you later. But yeah, so I mean, dude, we're coming towards the end of the episode. So before we finish, do you just want to let people know where they can find you, basically? Where are you easiest to find?
Yep, so it is, unlike how Jake spelled my first sort of welcome back email, it's Brendon, BRENDON.findfitness on Instagram. Facebook, if you're a 45-year-old mum, it is Find Fitness Hull. Find Fitness Best Training, I think in brackets Hull. I don't know why it's not Brendon Find Fitness. Like, I think I'm going corporate on Facebook for some reason there, but... yeah, so the rebrand's a new thing, so all like that's still in the process of changing stuff over. So yeah. Brendon so full stop Find Fitness on there on Instagram. You will see a lot of stories of me talking absolute shite. So if you've liked me talking today, as we've probably gone through, Jake's probably had about 800 questions he got planned, and we've probably got 3 done. But I do talk a lot of shite, and it's because I like to show a different side to the industry as a whole. I try and show that we are humans. And we all like, not say we all like to have a laugh, there'll be some miserable bastards out there, but a lot of us like to have a laugh and share our sort of, you talk on your stories quite a lot, don't you? I think that's quite a good thing to do.
Yeah, I do try to be quite engaging and quite consistent on stories, yeah.
I think it shows people who we are as people as well, and not just they get this result and this result and this result for people. I think it's important to do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I talk too much though.
And what's your podcast called for people?
So it is the Find Fitness Podcast. It's literally, if you check, it's the Find Fitness Podcast. So I've been doing it for just under a year now. Jake was before we recorded, said he's probably going to go past me in terms of episodes. So I do an episode, I do a guest episode, then a solo episode. I kind of rotate that every other month. So at the moment, I think there's 21 episodes. I've been doing it for a year. So every 3 weeks I do an episode. It's not like an official I'm not pushing him out like Jake is over here. He's doing well with this, to be fair to him.
No, what I love about your podcast though is you'll have clients on it as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's been a one-off so far. The rest of them, they're too scared.
I like it.
Too scared to do it. Like I've said to them, I'll pay you to do it, and they're still not going to do it. I'm like, come on. But yeah, so I've had one client podcast. It was a really good reflection on her experience with me PTing and what she got out of the process, and it was good because she wasn't a weight loss client as well. Like the misconception of you need to lose weight to get a PT, like. Again, that philosophy is changing a little bit now, which is nice to see. Like, just because you don't want to lose weight doesn't mean you don't. Like, I didn't think I wanted to lose weight with Jake, but I've been losing weight. I've been enjoying it, but that's just been a byproduct of what we're trying to achieve over here. But so just because you don't want to lose weight doesn't mean you shouldn't hire someone to help you with your fitness goals. Like, I think it's very important to do so still.
100%. I completely agree, mate. I love that. So before you go then, leave us with something inspirational. So what would you say to someone who's struggling right now? What's the one thing, one piece of advice you would give them?
So if you're struggling in regards to, like I said about motivation, it's not motivation you need discipline. So that's one thing I would say. But if that discipline just ain't there, and you just
that in there at the end, didn't you, before we finished?
I forgot what I was going to say. It didn't come up. I thought it was going to come up at some point. But yes, whether it's you're not being accountable of what you're eating, what's going through your gob, whether it's you skipping training, whether you're walking your dog that a little bit less, whether you're just generally moving a little less but eating a little bit more, or eating not as much of the, I'd say I don't want to demonize foods, but the good and bad. You know what I mean by that? Like, you just need to, it's like, this is the quote now. So first you make your decisions, and then your decisions will make you. So if you're deciding currently that you aren't up for doing this, you aren't for doing that, your body will tell you that, and you will start to either A, put on weight, or B, feeling further demotivated. So first you make your decision, then your decision makes you. Like, you are the product of what you are getting done, essentially. And if you aren't getting shit done, you're going to be a bad product, so to say. You are going to either lose weight and get all weak, you're going to put on weight, you're going to feel more stressed. There's so many different ways it could go, but ultimately you're not going to be the person you want to be if you don't make the right decisions in your everyday life.
Love that. First you make your decisions, then your decisions make you. That is gold. That is good. I like that.
You're the first today, so don't you try and
get it on there before you. I'd give you credit. I won't do that. Don't worry.
I've got a sticky note on my lamp, by the way, if you want to see that one as well. So
yeah, what's that?
So the more you create, the more powerful you become. The more you consume, the more powerful others become. So by that, it means be proactive and not reactive. Stop scrolling through Instagram and really enjoy your life, basically. If you're sifting through and being triggered by posts, you're going to be a very not a nice person to be around, basically, is what I mean by that one.
Yeah, look at that. Quotes for days. Got one for every occasion.
If I ever find myself in between check-ins just scrolling through Instagram, I see it, I'm like, oh shit, get off the phone.
I like that. I do like that a lot. That's a good idea. So, Brendon, mate, thank you for coming on. Been an absolute pleasure, and I've really, really enjoyed this episode. And hopefully we'll get you on again soon.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it, mate. So hopefully everyone's enjoyed this and wants me to shut up now. I'm fine with that. But yeah, I've absolutely loved it, mate.
Brilliant. I'll drop your Instagram and Spotify and podcast into the show notes so people can find you directly, dude.
Fantastic, mate. I love it.
Cheers.